cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know.
Cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Get in here and grab a cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know.
Good morning, everybody. No, I'm not going to break out in song myself. I won't put you through that torture. Happy Thursday morning. Good morning, Just Call Me Kim. Good morning, Mimi. Good morning, Dizzy. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Forrest, as always. Good morning, Mama Bear. Good to see you in here. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It has been a while since I've done a morning show, and I kind of miss it because there's a different energy in the morning. You know, it's like beginning of the day, although my day started hours and hours and hours ago, and I was up late going through the Epstein files. I mean, the House released them, but they only released part of them, and the other part that they didn't release, they voted along party lines to not release them because we know the GOP has the majority in the House. So that was interesting. Dizzy, yeah, morning showers, absolutely. I can't take a shower at the end of the day. I mean, as when I got back from CrimeCon, I got back at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I just felt gross because all day at CrimeCon and then in the airport, well, riding to the airport and then in the airport and then on the airplane and then on the ride home at 1 o'clock in the morning, I got home and I'm like, I really should shower, but I'm just going to go to bed. Yeah, morning showers are the best. They wake you up and you feel all refreshed. But I decided to cover the Epstein files today because my son sent me the link last night, and obviously they were released like a week ago, so I'm sure somebody else has covered them probably. But I've been at CrimeCon. I've been completely consumed with CrimeCon, preparing for CrimeCon, traveling to CrimeCon, getting pulled over by the local police department 4 blocks from home. Getting there and just being totally blown away by the experience that was CrimeCon 2025. Like getting to meet Vinnie Politan, getting actually some one-on-one time with Vinnie was amazing. Like for him to agree to that, like with no compensation or anything, just like, hey dude, show up at my booth early in the morning and if I'm available, I'll talk. And he was, and we did. And it was amazing. And I will do a CrimeCon recap, I promise. Problem is I have 2 phones and Twitter isn't, I can't get Twitter connected to my new phone. And so when I post anything on X, and I was posting on X from time to time at CrimeCon, I had to transfer photos from my new phone to my old phone so I could upload them on X. And so I have a whole bunch of duplicate photos, and I got to get it all sorted out. Yeah, Mama Bear, Vinny was very cool to talk to. So the very first night was the 4th. CrimeCon hadn't actually kicked off yet officially. It was the welcome party, if you will, and there was a live band, and almost all the people were there, and many alcoholic beverages were consumed. But which is probably why Nate Eaton was one of the people that weren't there. But it was an amazing experience. Got to meet Ray Hermosillo and talk with him and his wife. Just me and Ms. Woozy just standing there chatting, like, you know, not best friends, but like, you know, we're at a cocktail party, and that's kind of what it was a big cocktail party, and it was fun. That was the first night. And then I ran into Vinny again and his entourage. He's got his 3 guys that he does his podcast with, and they're like always together. And just ran into him in the hallway one night later, just randomly. And we stood there and talked baseball for like 10 minutes because I wore my Braves jersey with Joe Schmo 88 on the back. And later that came in to play, not with Vinny, but I was at Trisha's booth, at Othram's booth, with talking to Trisha from Web Sleuths, and I hear this voice behind me go, "Joe Schmo," and I turned around, and it was Josh Ritter and his little adorable entourage of his wife and his niece and his baby in the stroller, and because I had Joe Schmo on the back of my jersey, we ran into each other because they were taking a break. And so if I had gone down to their booth after that, they wouldn't have been there. So that was, yeah, Josh and Tiff are freaking adorable, and their whole entourage was great. So I left them a voice message for this Sunday fun day. Hopefully they'll play it. Maybe they won't. We'll see. But it was an amazing experience. I got to ask questions. I asked at least 3 questions, maybe I asked 4. I asked a question at the Delphi with Nick McClellan, Jared Holman. I didn't ask a question at the other Delphi, which was the family. Didn't feel right asking a question there. And then I asked a question at Lori Daybell, which got some laughs and kind of relieved the tension there with a little bit of levity. And then I asked a question at the Othram Idaho 4. So it was just, all in all, it was an amazing experience. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thank you for commenting, liking, sharing. Hollyberry. Hey, good morning, Hollyberry. Good to see you in here. So usually I have a sports clip. I don't have a sports clip this morning. It wears me out trying to get around their freaking copyright issues, because MLB, NBA, NFL, they all just have, and college football, NCAA, they just lock down their stuff so tight that it's really hard to find clips that are worth it to show you guys and not get it copyright struck. So no sports clip today, unfortunately. But we're going to talk about something real quick that I'm going to talk about at the end of the show too, because I want to highlight it twice, and we're going to highlight it on Sunday too, because this Sunday I have an amazing interview coming up, my second interview with London Valdez mom, Brittany. And I'm so honored that she has agreed to come back for a second interview. There are some things that are moving on the case. There are going to be some things coming out today, and maybe some other things coming out this week yet, today or tomorrow. So we'll have a lot to talk about on Sunday. And Brittany has agreed to come on and do another interview. But in the meantime, they have posted a petition to their state representatives for justice for London. And I want to share that with you guys because they're so close to 1,000 signatures. And there are going to be a couple of caveats to this. Here we go. Share this and add to stage. So this is a petition for justice for London Valdez. Let me share the link in chat real quick. Here we go. Holy cow, that's a long link. Okay, there's the link for the petition for justice for London Valdez. Now, I have to use a caveat with this because the two adult men that were last seen with London, Braden Brown and Jose Menjares, are specifically mentioned in this, and they have not been charged. They have not been arrested in this case, but they were last seen with her as attested to by Braden's father, Leo Brown. He saw Braden with London, and then he didn't see them, and then he left the house, and when he came to the house was empty that night. So we're going to talk about this more on Sunday, but in the meantime, if you feel so inclined, here's the petition. Why we are speaking out. Our family is grieving the tragic death of London Valdez, a 16-year-old minor who died with higher than lethal levels of methamphetamine in her system and was left 3 miles outside of Forgan, Oklahoma on a dirt road June 7th. These are facts. We are calling for full accountability under Oklahoma law for any adults whose actions contributed to her death. Specifically, we call on law enforcement and DA and the district attorneys in Texas County, Beaver County, and Woodward County to arrest and charge those two men who were last seen with her. That's a fact, Braden Brown and Jose Menjares, with the evidence that shows they furnished or facilitated controlled substances to London or used controlled substances with her, knowingly and willingly aided in her state as a runaway, and to pursue all applicable charges under Oklahoma law. We make this request as a grieving family seeking accountability. We understand arrests and charges must be based on evidence and probable cause, and we ask authorities to act accordingly. So this is the signature, or this is the petition. There are 57 signatures away from the 1,000 that is a good benchmark for a petition like this. So if you feel so inclined, and I'll just say right now, I did and I do to sign the petition. But on Sunday, we are going to go over the facts of this and of the case and the involvement of those two in more detail, things that we didn't discuss in the first interview. We've gone over the timeline and we've organized the timeline of what happened in those 3 days, June 5th, 6th, and 7th in more detail. And even a couple of days after that. So there's the link for her petition. If you feel so inclined, help them get to 1,000 signatures. I know they would appreciate it. Oh, there's Carolina. Hey there. Welcome in, Carolina. Diamond Dave, welcome in. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. So we're going to come back to that. I got rid of that link. I should not have done that. I'll come back to it. I know I've got it in here somewhere. Let me separate out my tabs a little bit here. And then, thank you, Laura. I appreciate that very much. Good morning, Vicky. Good morning, Laura. Welcome in. Just call me Kim. Hi again. So we have another story that I'm going to just briefly cover because there was a presser this morning on it. And I'm just going to air this with the caveat that we're not doing politics in this chat. However you feel about Charlie Kirk, I unequivocally condemn shooting him to death yesterday. And so I'm going to air the update this morning, the presser, real quick. I'll probably do it on like 1.25 speed, but we're not doing politics in this chat. we're not doing it. I'm not doing it. You're not doing it. So just let's watch the update real quick because it is very newsworthy. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. That's wrong. I think it's funny though. At the beginning of this press conference, there's this like nerdy guy that comes out that's nobody, and he like takes some pictures, and then he does a microphone check, and then they can't get the microphone levels right in the press conference. All right, share and hello. What happened? There we go. Share and share. I don't know why that cracked me up, but it cracked me up. But this isn't a laughing matter. Here we go.
Okay, so everybody's spelling. FBI speaker is special agent in charge. Robert Bowles, ROBERT, last name BOHLS. And then for the Department of Public Safety, we have Commissioner Bo Mason, BEAU, last name MSSON. Anyone need to repeat that? Robert Bowles, ROBERT, Bowles, BOHLS, and then Bo Mason, BEAU, Mason, MASON. Everybody got that? Hi everyone. My name is Keller. I'm the Communications Director for the Utah Department of Public Safety. Today we will have two speakers, one representing the state of Utah and one representing our federal agencies. They will be providing some updates as well as a recap of what happened here at Utah University yesterday. We will be able to take a couple questions after they are done speaking, but it will be short and to stay into it with the president speaking at 9:45. So I'll go ahead and introduce Commissioner Bowles.
Good morning. Bo Mason, Utah Department of Public Safety. I'd be remiss to start off today recognizing the significance of the day. Historically, on 9/11, all Americans come together to recognize and honor those that sacrificed, preserve the ideals of this country, the freedoms of this country. And instead, we find ourselves today hunting a murderer who chose to violate our rights of the individual within this country. Just to recap yesterday's events, at around 12:20 p.m., political influencer Charlie Kirk was at Utah Valley University participating in a student-sponsored event with Turning Point USA. Charlie was shot at that event. He was transported to a local hospital where he later passed. Last night, his body was moved to the state office of the medical examiner. We will continue to facilitate movements to get him home today and with his family. Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they faced scrutiny, they faced threats. We asked the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects, they were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that. I'd like to thank all the investigators that are involved in this. They have worked around the clock, all day yesterday, through the night last night. Investigators from the State Bureau of Investigations, from county, from city agencies, university, our federal partners with the FBI, the ATF, and many others. Those are just a few of the people that we have involved in this. I'd like to thank all of them for their strong work. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs. We were able to track movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We had tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We're working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we're confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately. Last night I communicated with Erica. The family's devastated. As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen the state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring field. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will catch this individual. Having walked through the crime scene, through the hallways of this school, through the classrooms, I can imagine what the people on scene felt as well. A horrific event where some of them barricaded in classrooms, some of them ran in fear. Can't overstate the tragedy and the horrific event that yesterday was, and how we will work to bring to justice the actions of one individual or any other individuals that assisted in that. Our state has gone through a lot, and we will come out successful. With that, I'll turn the time over to Special Agent Valdez.
Good morning. My name is Robert Bowles, and I'm a special agent in charge of the Salt Lake Field Office. Following yesterday's tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk, FBI agents have been working around the clock in coordination with our law enforcement partners. We are and will continue to work nonstop until we find the person that has committed this heinous crime and find out why they did it. This morning, I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe the weapon that was used yesterday is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter has fled. The FBI laboratory will be analyzing this rifle. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we've received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that. The FBI has brought every resource to bear, and we will continue to do so throughout the course of this investigation. The FBI's mission is to protect the American people. It's to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Any attack on the First Amendment is an attack on the very foundation of our democracy. That is why we will relentlessly pursue this case and the shooter until we find him. We also continue to grieve the family and the community. It's our community. If you have any video or images from the shooting, we ask you to please submit them to our digital media tip website at www.fbi.gov/Utah Valley Shooting. You can also call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We truly rely on the public's help in these types of cases, and no tip is too small for its importance. Thank you.
Let's break the Adam. Greg.
I'm sorry about the audio, guys. There's almost nothing I can do about it.
Sounds like a college institution. We're not going to do some of these details. We go through those right now. That individual appears to be a college age. We are confident in our abilities to track that individual. If we're unsuccessful in identifying them immediately, we will reach out to help and media's help in seeing those photos. That was indeed all good overnight. We're not super nice to say, that's something that somebody was new and right now. As far as the starting, I can't speak to that. in the public safety, no further investigation of the false involvement in planning or security events, and that'll have to be a question for other agencies.
So the question, and the question that goes to safety, right? No, not with security. As to community, I can tell you that we don't believe community is at risk. However, we're exhausted.
From the images you have, you see clearly the suspect's face.
Say college age, you believe he was from this university, and how far do you think he may have gone in this mindset?
So I can't comment specifically on his face or any details such as that. As it's continuing to be part of the investigation, and you should again release that shortly. However, we're doing everything we can to find him, and we're not sure how far he's gone.
But you have a clear image of his face?
We have images of those.
Can you trace the gun's owner?
Again, as part of the investigation, we're not sure what these things. We are exhausting all our resources to get collect those, but that's again part of the investigation.
Have you been able to trace back the owner of the gun?
Excuse me?
You said you found the weapon. Have you been able to trace back the owner of that weapon?
We are working on that, but again, part of the investigation. Not at all. We've got total support from everyone, from director on down, and it's been an incredible environment so far. All I can say is that we're working the investigation as best we have with the environment.
Those are all the questions for right now.
Okay, I think that's it for that. Hold on, let me find that. Escape, boom, back to StreamYard. Hello, StreamYard. There we go. Okay, so I think what we learned there, key points, they have a footprint, a palm print, footprint, palm print, forearm print, probably DNA, video, high definition video, which is interesting why they haven't released that yet. He said, we're not releasing that at this time. And then I think he said, we're not sure how far he's gone. So they believe it's a male, apparently, a male shooter. And that logically makes sense. That's usually what happens most of the time. That's the majority. But they're not releasing the high definition video at this time. So that's curious. Not releasing the video, but they're not sure how far he's gone. So I'm going to play this about the school shooting too. Hold on. Let me maximize that. And then share this. Because we do need to give. So the news articles that I just YouTubed real quick about the school shooting are like 2 minutes long. And there were like nothing short of 10 minutes on the Charlie Kirk shooting. That's all I got to say about that.
One's Greg Nieto. Greg.
Sheriff's Office says there are actually multiple crime scenes both in and outside the school.
The shooter is a juvenile male.
Jefferson County authorities with the task of figuring out why an Evergreen student would open fire on 2 classmates at lunchtime, killing one.
Obviously, we're going to focus on that suspect's home, his car, his locker, all the things that we need to do to find out more about him and maybe why this happened.
200 law enforcement personnel from around the county racing to the campus at 12:24 p.m. Parents racing to make sure their students are safe. Students like Tyler Guyton, Evergreen High co-student body president, who drives home school spirit everywhere he goes.
My best friend called me and everything went haywire from there.
Guyton out sick today, but with the pulse of his student population.
Terrified. I mean, this has happened before and it'll happen again. And, you know, communities like Uvalde or Columbine, or there's a shooting in Platte Canyon that, some of those are near here. Those communities don't forget this.
At a press conference, the sheriff's office says there was no school resource officer on campus at the time.
What I've heard is the funding is an issue, but not by any fault of our own.
Tonight, this tight-knit evergreen community far from on its own when each other is needed most.
Me and my peers, we have one more year left to be kids. That changed all today.
The sheriff's office adds they did recover a handgun, a revolver belonging, they say, to the suspect, Jeremy. They also add that no law enforcement fired any of their weapons. Jeremy, back to you.
So I think I figured out where part of the echo is. It's because my Bluetooth earbuds are not working. So the sound was coming out of my computer and going into my microphone. So I'm going to have to wear my over-the-head headphones for the rest of this broadcast. Let me see. And they're not showing up. They're not showing up on my sound output. Give me like 30 seconds here, and then we'll get into the Epstein files because that's next. That's next. But I got to pair my headset. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Here we go. Pairing. Pairing. We're pairing. Now we have to go into Bluetooth settings. Where did my Bluetooth settings go? Stand by for technical difficulties. Remember that screen that we used to see? Stand by for technical difficulties. BT16 connect. There we go. We're connected. So now I have to go into my settings here in StreamYard. Oh my gosh. The medical examiner's report for Lyndon Valdez just dropped. Oh my gosh. And no, we're not going over it right now. All right. Microphone, speaker, BT16. There we go. Now we're set. Good morning, Star Hunter. Good to see you in here. All right. Now we're set. Now we have this fun thing right here to play with that's useless. Okay, so the Epstein files. There were like gigabytes upon gigabytes of files dropped by the House Oversight Committee. And I started unpacking them last night. And I tried to start organizing them, and I realized what a huge, ginormous task that would be to organize them, because they literally have them dropped page by page by page, individual pages dropped in individual folders that are subfolders of other folders with other subfolders. Let's see if I can show you guys that. The medical report for Lyndon Valdez. So the report we got back a couple of weeks ago was just a summary report. This is the final report. And if y'all can bear with me for just a second, I want to at least take a peek at it. And I can't share it with you because I have to share it with the family first or get their permission. I know it's a public record, but there's also sensitive stuff in there. So give me 1 second to log into my email. Log in, and I'm just going to take a quick peek at it. I want to know if it also includes a tox report. What is that? Oh, hold music. I was like, what is that sound that I hear? Yeah, London Valdez is the case that I'm covering out of Oklahoma, Michelle, and it's a doozy. It's like an onion inside a spider web. The things that are going on. Report of investigation by medical examiner. It's report of autopsy. So there's the autopsy report, post-mortem examination, tattoos, and I'm going to stop reading out loud. Okay, so that's confirmed. So one of the key things in her post-mortem examination is the fact that her body wasn't found for 5 days. And the family reports that the sheriff would not allow an organized search to be formed. He's just like, she's a runaway. You don't need to do any searching. This is what the family reports, that they wouldn't allow an organized search to be performed. So her body was not found for 5 days after her death, and it was severely decomposed by the time it was found. So it's June in Oklahoma. It's hot, very hot. And so her blood was, the medical examiner was not able to take blood samples because the blood was already in a state of decomposition that couldn't be sampled. So they had to take samples from her liver only. And this could be key in any type of a criminal case because there are certain types of charges to be filed against suspects that can't be filed or would be challenged by the defense attorney based on the fact that it's a liver sample and not a blood sample. So that just confirmed what the family had been saying, that they were not able to take any toxicology samplings from any blood at all because it just couldn't be done. They had to take all of their toxicology samples from the liver. And that could be a problem, which is doubly frustrating for the family that her body wasn't found for 5 days. We have a lot to talk about on Sunday. 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. Mom Brittany will be on with me to talk about this, we're going to do a little more linear discussion of what happened on June 5th through June 7th, and maybe even a couple days after that, and the 2 adult men who were last seen with her. We're going to be a little more linear in that. So yeah, okay, let's get into Epstein. That's just so disturbing. I can't. I'll put a link up for the petition again at the end. So the family has a petition into state legislators for justice for London. They specifically call out the 2 adult males who were last seen with London, who have not been charged, who have not been arrested, and according to the family, have not even been brought in to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation for an official interview and interrogation. Supposedly, it happened in Special Agent Beck's car outside of their house. He drove up to their house. He said, "Come out to my car. Let's talk about it out in my car." Kind of like Murdaugh, right? They did an initial interview with him, but he later went in for an official interview, right? Because that's SOP. I mean, you may do a car interview at first, but eventually, okay, these are the last 2 guys seen with the deceased teenager. maybe we should bring them into the office and have an official interview. So there are a number of disturbing things with that case. There are a number of disturbing things with the case. The lack of a search for her when she was missing, the lack of an investigation, the lack of a thorough investigation of the two persons of interest, the two primary persons of interest. And we'll dive deeper into it on Sunday with Brittany London's mom, Brittany Valdez London's mom. All right. Yes, the Ellie was familiar with both. Ellie was very familiar with both of the individual persons of interest. I hope that File Explorer plays well with StreamYard today, because I could not do it any other way today. So this is what we have. This is what I downloaded directly from the website of the House Oversight Committee. So we have folder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where are 11 and 12? 11 and 12 don't appear there. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. There is a lot to unpack here. There is no way we're going to get through all of it today. Yeah, Michelle, I've done two live streams on London. I did one the day of her funeral. And just, it wasn't coincidence that it was the day of her funeral, because I thought her funeral was going to be live streamed on Facebook, and I was going to air that. They ended up not doing that. So I just did my live stream. And then a couple of weeks ago, I did an interview with Brittany London's mom. A very enlightening interview. And I think the one this Sunday is even going to be more enlightening. So definitely tune in for that. Okay. So raw files out here. Let's just look at the raw files that aren't in a folder of any kind. This is just certificate of service on Ghislaine Maxwell. Boring stuff. Another Ghislaine Maxwell document. There are a lot of Ghislaine Maxwell documents in here. Let's see. Is this showing on StreamYard? It's not showing on StreamYard. Oh, that's funny. It's, hold on. Let me switch if I can. Oh, no. We stopped it. Share screen. Here we go. Media player. So this is just footage from the jail where Jeffrey Epstein was kept. This is the night before he was found deceased in his cell. So this isn't anything new. I think we've seen this before, and we don't, I kind of blooped through it earlier, and I don't think we see anything that's all that enlightening. I think he was found at what, like 6 o'clock in the morning-ish on the 10th. So this is the evening before. Here's the 10th. We're after midnight on the 10th. Let's, I don't know how to speed this up because it's in media player. 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. So this is like an hour before he was found, I believe. 5:14 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. Here we go. We're coming. Wait, did the door open? Why did that phone thing move right there? See the phone move? Watch that. The phone cord moves. See how it's out and then it's in. So I want to see what happens here. Sorry, guys. I just noticed this. I'm discovering this as you're discovering this. I have not watched this before. I'm just going to let it play because something happens here with the trash bag in the trash can, and that phone cord moves. We're just going to watch it. We're going to watch what happens. I know this isn't new news. Other people have covered this before, but it's new to me. So I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it play out. I wish I could speed it up. I don't think I can. Video settings. Equalizer speed. Here we go. Okay, here's somebody's coming up. Never mind. All right, he picks up the phone at 5:48:25. Is he the guy that found Jeffrey Epstein? He's waiting for the door to open, waiting for the door to open, waiting for the door to open. Still waiting for the door to open. Still waiting for the door to open. What's in that bag? Okay, he's calling again. Door's not opening. Come on, open the door, dude. Unlock the door. Why is it taking so long? It's 5:49 in the morning. All right. I'll go pull this trash too. There we go. Door's open. Why is he checking that trash can like that? All right, we're going to speed it up now. Speed. Let's go 2 times. There we go. Is Epstein dead or alive at that point in time? He's got to be still alive or he would pick up the phone and call, right? So that's not it. $6:00. Wait. 5:53. $5:53 to $6:00. It just jumps right there. Oh, the foreground is irrelevant. Okay. We're supposed to be watching down below, Dizzy says. I have no idea. So these are files released directly from the House Oversight Committee. I wonder how many of them sat here and watched this video board like we are right now. Dizzy, do you know where the 3 minutes is that's missing? Like at what time in the morning? So we can see it go bloop, bloop. We're supposed to be watching in the background. Like what cell was Jeffrey Epstein in? Apparently it wasn't 46. I assumed it was 46, but that's where the camera is. That guy walks around. down below. Okay, so if he was found around 6 in the morning, we should be coming up on it. So that guy that was upstairs comes back around behind the desk. Detectives as early in the video. Epstein walking through early in the video. Okay. We'll go back to the early in the video. Oh, right there. Okay, right early in the video, like at the beginning of it. We'll go back to the beginning. We can do that. And then we'll move on because there are like thousands of files and most of them boring and most of them about Ms. Maxwell. Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, maybe we'll study it later. If I know what I'm looking for, I can. Right, Dizzy? That's by design. Okay, so let's go back to this, to the File Explorer. Share that. So you can see there are 22 main folders. And then there's a subfolder under each of the main folders. And then there are more subfolders. Volume 1, there's images and natives. Natives are the video files. So I have to share those separately. I wish StreamYard would play nice.
I'm going to ask them to put the name on the record.
So I'm just going to show you or let you hear what one of these files sound like, and it makes no sense to me. It's an audio file. Hold on, I got to share it. Dang it, I didn't mean to do that. Share screen, an audio file, media player share. Here we go. This is one of those files in there, and it makes absolutely no sense to me.
Morning. My name is Assistant Special Agent in Charge Spencer Horn of FBI New York. Today we're doing a proffer of Ms. Maxwell. The date is July 24th, and the time is 10:12 a.m. This interview is being recorded.
So this is a proffer. Interesting.
Before we start formally asking questions of Ms. Maxwell, I'm going to put on the record everybody that's in this room in addition to me. Diego Pistana, Associate Deputy Attorney General. And then you heard from Special Agent in Charge Horn, Mark Beard from the United States Marshal Service is here as well. And then Dave. Yes, this is David Oscar Marcus, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
My name is Leah Seffian, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
So it's about and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
And I'm Ghislaine Maxwell.
Good morning, Ms. Maxwell.
So just somebody tell me, do we know about her proffer agreement like before now? Because this is I am not familiar with this case. I will openly admit it, but this is the first time that I've heard of a proffer agreement. You weren't hearing anything? You got to be kidding me. Oh, you got to be kidding me. For crying out loud. I knew it. I knew StreamYard wasn't going to play nice today. I freaking knew it. All right, I'm going to try and open it in a new window, and I'm going to try and play it again. This is the audio from a proffer agreement between federal agents and Ms. Maxwell. And if you can't hear it, I'm going to be super upset because it's interesting to me. Open with, let's try Windows Media Player. Let's try that. Recommended settings, finish. Okay, let me try this. Let's share the Windows Media Player. This is going to be, it's going to really piss me off if StreamYard doesn't play my media files. All right, going to try this. Tell me if you guys can hear this or not. God dang it. Seriously. For crying out loud. Why would it start playing the audio and then stop playing the audio? That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense. StreamYard, you're ruining my day. All right. We're going to go with. Oh my gosh, Dizzy, there are so many files to send to you. I mean, yeah, I can send you the ones here. I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to try the default media player one more time. Because apparently it started playing at one time, but then it stopped. Yes or no? It's playing. God bless it. All right, I'm going to send it to you, Dizzy, because this proffer agreement is, I mean, interesting to me. If nobody's heard it before, I mean, if you've all have heard it before. All right, hold on, Dizzy. I'm opening up WhatsApp. Hold on. All right. Here we go. This is in our other chat. Give me 30 seconds here. Then we can go look at other stuff and oh, they're not that big. 170 megabytes, 188 megabytes. They're WAV files. Sent. All right. Let's go look at something else while she's working on that. Share. Add to stage. All right. up to native 12. More files. Those are MP4s. Why are they mixing up their formats? They're WAV, they're MP4, they're all over the place. That's our federal government. Hi, guys. We're having fun today. Ms. Woozy's in here. Good morning, Ms. Woozy. Good morning. I'm having fun with StreamYard this morning, Ms. Woozy. It is loving my attempt to play audio files. Okay, this is one that's images. Let's see if this is this showing up? This is showing up on StreamYard. Woohoo! Let's look at this view extra large icons. And we can't see what the pictures are. Oh, that's so funny. These are just documents. These are documents related to Ms. Maxwell. They all look very boring, but I'm sure there's something in there somebody can find that's not so boring. Ghislaine Maxwell moves under Federal Rules of Evidence 701, 702, and 704 to preclude any expert opinion testimony from law enforcement witnesses. All that boring stuff. So yeah, let's find another folder that's not so boring. So that was folder 1. Let's look at folder 2. Volume 1, natives, native 8. See, here's more audio files, and I can't share them with you, and it's so frustrating. That looks like the same video of the same recorded. Here's continued recorded proffer. I'm going to send that to you, Dizzy. Because there was the proffer and then there's continue recorded proffer. So I'm sending that to you right now, the audio file for continued recorded proffer. Native 11. This is so frustrating that I can't share this with you guys. I'm going to have to figure this out. I'm going to have to figure it out. All right, back to the file folder, back to images. So all of the natives are either video files or audio files under the natives folders. And the images are document files. I'll just show you an example of this one because you can't see it because it's not in the Explorer. This is what they look like. So just an example, page 14 of 21 of document 387, the government's error in including accuser 3's allegations in the indictment does not somehow convert this evidence into proof of the charged conspiracies. Such a rule would allow the government to entirely circumvent Rule 404B simply by charging other act conduct in the indictment. What's funny about Rule 404B is we saw that in the Lori Daybell trial, and it goes to other acts. So she constantly pushed the limits of opening the door on her prior acts, right? By talking about what a good person she was. This is a little bit different, This is talking about another accuser's allegations in the indictment. Moreover, without a proper limiting instruction, there is a serious risk that the jury will view this lawful conduct as evidence of criminal propensity, prior bad acts. See United States versus Dolney, number 04CR 159, blah, blah, blah. Benefit of applying Rule 404B is the value that a limiting instruction will have on ensuring that the jury does not view the defendant's alleged prior conduct as evidence of the defendant's propensity to engage in criminal activity. At the very least, it is not manifestly clear that the evidence related to Accuser 3 is proof of the charged Mann Act conspiracies. Accordingly, the proper course is to proceed under Rule 404B. And then evidence related to Accuser 3 is not admissible under Rule 404B and should be excluded under Rule 403. Okay. So that's just a sample of the like thousands of documents. Did you not see that? Did you seriously not see that? All right. Why is it not sharing? StreamYard is giving me fits today, people. Share. There we go. Add to stage. No, read it again, and you can be bored again. The government's error in including Accuser 3's allegations in the indictment does not somehow convert this evidence into proof of the charged conspiracies. So this is a 404B. I'm wondering, including Accuser 3's allegations, so there's an accuser that's saying that they're saying their allegations should be left out because it would be proof, or it could taint the jury into believing that she had a propensity under Rule 404B. It should be excluded under Rule 403. Anyway, that's what I was reading, and you all were like, what's he reading? StreamYard has me all upside down today, guys. There it is. Let's look at another one. Let's just pick one randomly out of here. No, that's not the one. No, that's not the one. We'll just go to the next page. All right, we'll go to the next page. Rule 403. We're talking about Rule 403. I want to know who Accuser 3 is, though. But this is actually an interesting page. So let me share it. I'll share it properly this time, I promise. Share. And then double share. So we're talking about Rule 403, issues or misleading the jury or by considerations of undue delay or waste of time. According to the government, Accuser 3 is expected to testify that she was sexually abused by Epstein, not because she was underage and incapable of consent by law, but because her subjective experience of these incidents was that they were traumatic, exploitive, and abusive. Government memo in opposition to defendant's pretrial motions. If Accuser 3 is allowed to testify that she felt she was sexually abused by Epstein, the jury will naturally assume that the alleged sex acts were illegal when they were not. Indeed, even if she is not allowed to use the phrase sexual abuse, the mere fact that Accuser 3 will be testifying about alleged sex acts that she participated in with a much older man when she was 17 years old will likely lead the jury to assume that the conduct was illegal. This is a bullshit argument. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Had to comment. The mere fact that Accuser 3 will be testifying about alleged sex acts that she participated in with a much older man when she was 17 years old will likely lead the jury to assume that the conduct was illegal. Bullshit. This is a bullshit argument. Sorry, that's 3 times in like a minute. Especially after they have heard the expected testimony of the other accusers in this case. Hence, there is a strong likelihood that the jury will be misled by Accuser 3's evidence and will misapply it in evaluating Ms. Maxwell's guilt or innocence to the charged Mann Act conspiracies. I got to check chat, guys. Sorry. Oh, man. This argument that the defense is making in this case is just ridiculous. Oh, yeah, I can zoom. Yeah, I can zoom. Sorry, guys. There we go. Is that better? There we go. I put $1 in the swear jar. Now it's $3, Michelle. Now I got to put $3 in the swear jar. All right, let me put myself off to the side so y'all can read it. Then I'll zoom in a little more. There we go. All right, so right here. Indeed, even if she is not allowed to use the phrase sexual abuse, the mere fact that accuser 3 will be testifying about alleged sex acts that she participated in with a much older man when she was 17 years old. What does much older have to do with it? Like, who cares if he's 18 or 58 or 98? Like, much older man? Like, just using that phrase tells me that this is a bullshit argument. Like, that doesn't persuade me of anything if I'm on the jury. Is it legal or illegal to engage in those acts as an adult with a 17-year-old? Most age of consent, most states age of consent is 16. Now in Utah, it's 14. Did you hear that? It's 14 in Utah now. I think a year ago they passed that legislation anyway. Will likely lead the jury to assume that the conduct was illegal, especially after they have heard the expected testimony of the other accusers in this case. Hence, there is a strong likelihood that the jury will be misled by accuser 3's evidence and will misapply it in evaluating Ms. Maxwell's guilt or innocence to the charged Mann Act conspiracies. Both of which require that Ms. Maxwell acted with the intent that the accusers would engage in illegal or criminal sexual activity. This risk substantially outweighs the limited probative effect of accuser 3's evidence. Even if the court were to give the jury an appropriate limiting instruction, there is substantial risk that it would not be sufficient to ensure that the jury did not misinterpret or misapply this evidence. No. That's what jury instructions are for. And we have to count on the legal system and the judicial system that jurors and juries will follow jury instructions, and that they do. Oh, no. If she was 17 and he was much older, then the jury is going to be prejudiced by that. Bullshit. Accordingly, the court should. I got to keep reading this. This is like one of thousands of pages that were dropped, and this is like fascinating to me. I hope I'm not boring you all too much. Hope I'm not boring you. This is fascinating to me. Accordingly, the court should exclude accuser 3's evidence. All right, what's the next page in there? Can you all see that? You can't see that. Okay, so I'll close that out. Accordingly, the court should. Okay, here's the next one. Hold on. Stand by. This is the next page following that. Here's if the court decides not to exclude accuser 3's evidence. If the court determines that the evidence related to accuser 3 is admissible, either as direct evidence of the charged conspiracies or as a 404B evidence, the court should preclude the government and accuser 3 from referring to accuser 3 as a minor. Was she a minor or wasn't she? 17 years old is a legal minor. Oh, we don't want you to mention that, though. Don't mention that. Wow. These arguments are bonkers. Does anybody else think these arguments are bonkers? She was a minor, but you can't mention that in court. Preclude the government and accuser from representing that she was, quote unquote, sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein. And 3, give the jury an appropriate limiting instruction related to accuser 3's testimony. The government concedes that accuser 3 alleges that she was 17 years old. Alleges she was or she wasn't. She alleges she was 17 years old and above the age of consent in the UK, okay, and most states in the US, when she purportedly engaged in acts with Epstein in London. The government further concedes that accuser 3 cannot establish that she was under the age of 18. Oh, okay, so they're saying they can't establish she was under the age of 18 when she alleges that she first traveled to the United States and engaged in acts with Epstein at his residences. So this goes down to, do we believe the victims or do we not? Like, she's coming out in a very brave way to talk about her experiences with Jeffrey Epstein. And we all have to acknowledge how brave that is for them to come out. And are there false accusations from time to time? Yes. But by and large, as a society, I think we've evolved to the point now where we give victims the benefit of the doubt and we believe what they say. And I think like the dates that she traveled to the US and that she met Jeffrey Epstein in London are probably pretty much verifiable. I mean, it says here that the government concedes that they can't establish it beyond a reasonable doubt or whatever that level is, but I think it's probably, I think it's probably believable. Accuser 3 was therefore not a minor under the laws of relevant jurisdictions when the alleged acts and the alleged international travel took place. It follows that the court should not permit the government or accuser 3 to refer to herself as a minor or claim that she was a minor when she allegedly engaged in acts with Epstein. Similarly, court should not permit the government and accuser 3 to assert that she was sexually abused by Epstein. I'm going to say it there. The phrase sexual abuse connotates criminal activity. I think it was. Even though the alleged conduct was lawful. Notwithstanding accuser 3's subjective experience of these incidents, the use of the phrase sexual abuse should not be allowed because it will mislead the jury into thinking that accuser 3 engaged in. All right, we'll get to the next one. It's going to take me like 20 seconds here. That's not the right page. The right page did not come up next. No. Oh, I can't find the next page, guys. It's not in any type of an order that makes any kind of sense. Like they have these things numbered and labeled in ways that make it impossible to sort through it in any type of order. Could that be intentional, maybe? Okay, we're going to close out of that, close out of that, close out of that, close out of that. So we're going to have to leave that argument hanging where it sits. Oh, there's a good one there, though, because that's a preliminary statement to a motion in limine by Ms. Maxwell. I think we should look at that motion in limine. Thank you all for hanging with me and trying to get through these struggles. StreamYard is not playing nice today with my other things, so we got to get through them one at a time. I like the motion in limine, though. Let's take a look at that. Bloop, 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 bloop. Which one is this? Crap. I got to see which one's the motion in limine. That's not the one. There's the motion in limine. I think it's this one. All right, add that to the stage. Let's zoom in so you can read it better. Ghislaine Maxwell respectfully moves in limine pursuant to U.S. versus El Sadawi to exclude evidence of Ms. Maxwell's supposed flight following the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein, and to preclude the government from arguing to the jury that Ms. Maxwell was hiding from or evading law enforcement authorities prior to or at the time of her arrest, or that her conduct during this time period is proof of consciousness of guilt. Interesting. Whoops, too fast. Preliminary statement. As Ms. Maxwell explained in her bail applications, her decision to remove herself from public view after Epstein's arrest was emphatically not for the purpose of evading detection by law enforcement, but instead was an effort to protect herself and her family members from an onslaught of intrusive media attention and threats of physical violence. Ms. Maxwell's position was extensively supported by letters from her spouse and other family members who personally attested to relentless harassment from the media, as well as an affidavit submitted by Ms. Maxwell's security guard, who explained the circumstances of her arrest. Furthermore, Ms. Maxwell remained in the U.S. continuously after Epstein's arrest, was in regular contact with prosecutors through her attorneys, and never once demonstrated an intent to flee the country. The government has not established and will not be able to establish at trial a sufficient factual predicate of flight from which the jury can infer consciousness of guilt under controlling precedent. Allowing the government to introduce evidence of Ms. Maxwell's actions prior to and at the time of her arrest to prove consciousness of guilt would mislead the jury and would invite them to draw speculative and unsupported inferences in the face of contrary factual evidence. Such evidence and argument would be unfairly prejudicial to Ms. Maxwell and would lead to a mini trial on the issue of flight. Interesting. So I didn't watch Donna's trial in detail, Donna Adelson. Like, I caught what I could catch of it, but I honestly wasn't that interested in watching every single minute of it. Did they use her attempt to flee to Vietnam as evidence of her consciousness of guilt in Donna Adelson's trial? Can anybody answer that? I didn't see it for myself, but like I said, I didn't watch every minute of that trial, not even close to every minute of that trial. Anyone? Bueller? It was. Just Call Me Kim says it was. Oh my gosh. Interesting. So this is Ms. Maxwell's argument right here, is you can't use that against me as evidence of consciousness of guilt. Oh boy. Nice, Forrest. Thank you. Thanks, Danny. So this is Ms. Maxwell's argument to not use that in court. So here's another document that's kind of along those same lines. Remove. Bloop. Here we go. Let's add. Hello, StreamYard. Have we met? So, oops. Here is document 388, page 6 of 14. Ms. Maxwell moved residences and switched her primary phone number, which she registered under the name GMAX, and email address at the time of her. Okay, so this is the state's argument either before or after that last motion in limine. I would guess this is probably the state's response, or part of the state's response to her motion in limine that we just read, or part of which we just read. Ms. Maxwell moved residences and switched her primary phone number, which she registered under the name GMAX. At the time of her arrest, Ms. Maxwell allegedly ignored the direction of FBI agents to open the front door of her residence and instead moved into an interior room of the house. Holy cow. During a security sweep of the house, FBI agents found a cell phone wrapped in tin foil on top of a desk. Oh my gosh. Oh, you can't make that up. I don't know who does that, but that's pretty funny. Ms. Maxwell thoroughly rebutted each of these points in her second bail motion. Ms. Maxwell, okay, this is still part of the same motion, Lemay. Okay, she rebutted these arguments. Ms. Maxwell offered not just argument in response, but independent factual corroboration of her position that stands in direct opposition to the government's incorrect and improper inferences. For example, Ms. Maxwell provided a letter from her spouse who confirmed that Ms. Maxwell's decision to leave her family, move residences, and eventually settle in New Hampshire, where she remained continuously for over 7 months until her arrest, was a difficult choice that was motivated by the pressing need to protect herself and her family from media intrusion and potential violent threats, not by a desire to evade law enforcement. Letters provided by other friends and family members attested to the relentless media harassment. Okay, I believe it. They themselves received and severe consequences they endured simply for being associated with Ms. Maxwell. Ms. Maxwell also provided an affidavit from the head of security company providing security to Ms. Maxwell, who explained circumstances surrounding her actions. Can he explain the phone wrapped in tin foil? I don't think he can. Why is the phone wrapped in tin foil? It literally says tin foil. It doesn't say aluminum foil. It says tin foil. Tin foil. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Chandler Halderson. Oh my gosh, Forrest. Gonna bring that name out of the woodwork. All right. There are so many documents. This is just like one folder out of hundreds of folders. Let's go down to like a deeper one, like later on in this. Let me show you guys where I'm going on here. All right, so this is just folder 2 of 22 folders. Let's like drop down here to like, let's say 17. Folder 17, volume 1, images. Oh my goodness. You see how much stuff is here? And it's just, the organization is just bonkers. Oh, this actually relates to what we just read. All right, hold on. Let me share it with you. Window. Where'd it go? All right. No, that's the motion eliminate. We don't want that. We don't want that. No, we don't want that. Close out of that. We want this one. Here we go. So this is the filing before the motion in limine. So the organization of these is just totally out of whack. It's like almost intentionally obfuscational. Is that a word? Obfuscational. It's like 17 folders in, and this is the motion before the motion we just read. She is a risk of flight because she changed her email and phone number. Make sure we're sharing. Yes, we're sharing. That's what we heard in the opening brief. Well, what happened? Something the government, frankly, should know about because it was certainly public last year in a civil litigation in August of 2019, right around the time of the arrest. So this is a transcript of some type of hearing. I have no idea who's talking. This is like the first document in this file that's a subfolder of folder number 17. In August of 2019, right around the time of the arrest of Mr. Epstein, the second court ruled that certain records in one of the civil cases should be unsealed and released to the public. That was done. There was no stay at the moment. The demand was issued and the documents were released. Certain of those documents were supposed to be redacted, and sometimes they were and sometimes they were not. Ooh, that's not good. Got to redact those documents, people. Documents including email addresses, social security numbers, names, phone numbers, and sorts of things, Your Honor, I am sure has to deal with all the time in these kinds of situations. But as it turned out, for whatever reason, some of the documents were not redacted and her email address was revealed. Oh, no. Shortly after that, she starts getting strange emails. Her phone is hacked and she had to change emails and change the account. Now she has got a phone that has legal materials on it, correspondence with her counsel in civil litigation that's been hacked. So she keeps it. Why does she keep it? Because she is in civil litigation. Her obligation is to keep evidence, not destroy it, and is advised that a way to keep it. Yeah, so that's some type of a transcript from some type of a hearing that is out of order. Ms. Woozy, hi. Yeah, this is definitely by design, like the disorganization in this. These are all transcripts from some type of a hearing in this. I'm just trying to like click through randomly and see if there's anything of great value in here. There are lots of exhibits. Exhibit X. They're all out of order. Like I click on one and you would think that page 19 of 36 would lead to page 20 of 36. Nope. Here's one about extradition. Oh, that one could be interesting. Page 19 of 36. This is a discussion about extradition in France. So let me pull that one up real quick. Let me exit out of this transcript. And pull up another one. This is painful today, guys. StreamYard just... StreamYard is giving me fits. Let's see, I think this is the extradition one. No, that's not the extradition one. What happened to it? There we go. All right. Coming your way in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bingo. All right. So we're talking about extradition here. Something about, so this is about Ms. Maxwell, the jurisdiction of her choosing, i.e. the one to which she chose to flee. The Department of Justice's Office of International Affairs is unaware of any country anywhere in the world that would consider an anticipatory extradition waiver binding. Indeed, the defendant's own expert's conclusion that because of these waivers and other factors, it is highly unlikely that she would be able to resist extradition successfully leaves open the possibility that she could avoid extradition. Leaves open the possibility that she could avoid extradition. Right. There are countries where she could go where she may not be able to be extradited. Makes sense. Such an outcome is virtually a certainty as to France, a country of which the defendant is a citizen and which does not extradite its citizens. So France is a non-extradition country. I didn't know that. And especially since she's a citizen of France. Ooh. If she found a way to get to France, she's never coming back to the U.S. I did not know that France was a non-extradition country of its own citizens, not U.S. citizens, but French citizens. To confirm this fact, after receiving the renewed bail motion, the government, through OIA, contacted the French Ministry of Justice, MOJ, to clarify whether there is any circumstance under which France would extradite a French citizen to the United States. That letter, in its original French, as well as an English translation of the letter, are attached here to as Exhibit B. In that letter, the MOJ makes clear that France does not extradite its nationals outside the European Union, regardless of the existence of dual citizenship, including to the United States, and has never derogated from that principle outside of the European Union. Quote, see also United States versus Sillins. Because France refuses to extradite its citizens, Sillins can avoid prosecution on this indictment if he can reach French soil. Same with her. If she can reach French soil, she's good. In other words, even assuming the government could locate the defendant, if she flees to France, her citizenship in that country would completely bar her extradition. Any purported waiver of extradition executed in the United States would not be enforceable against the defendant in France because French law embodies an inflexible principle that its citizens will not be extradited. So, riddle me this. So they talked about how witness number 3 in that document a couple of documents ago. No, she's not, Ms. Woozy, she's not in France. She's a French citizen. But if she ever got back to France, she would not ever be able to be extradited to the U.S. French, they call it an inflexible principle. So witness number 3 reportedly engaged in acts with Jeffrey Epstein in London. Now, if Great Britain, if England were still a part of the EU, they talk about how extradition is possible within the EU. But didn't England vote to, like, secede from the EU? So they're not EU. So if she gets to France, I think she's safe. Like, she's home free. Yeah, Brexit, right, Dizzy? Yeah, I mean, unless Jeffrey Epstein was also in France or somewhere in the EU and Ms. Maxwell was a part of some type of a ring there. Michelle, that's funny. Oh, let's see if there's anything else in this folder. I don't see anything else interesting in this folder. It's just picking and choosing, like thousands upon thousands of single pages of documents. There is not a single document all compiled as one document. Like if I go to the Carroll County Courthouse right now and I pull out and I request a copy of some type of a court proceeding that happened during Richard Allen's trial or pretrial hearings or post-trial hearings, I would get the entire document as one, right? Like if it was 2 pages long, if it was 20 pages long, I would get the entire document as one document. They're releasing these literally a page at a time, like in no type of common sense. Here, aircraft make and model. So these are airport logs. I'm just going to show you real quickly here. These are aircraft logs at some type of an airport. This is interesting. Not that I know how to interpret it or what it means, but it means something. I'm sure somebody will be able to figure out exactly what it means. So this is under images 6 folder under a subfolder of a subfolder of a subfolder. So these are aircraft logs, aircraft make and model, aircraft identification mark, points of departure and arrival. Is this Jeffrey Epstein's airplane? What did they call that plane? Somebody has a nickname for Epstein's plane, and I can't remember what it was. Because you have Epstein Island, but then you have the plane that goes to and from Epstein Island. I wonder if that's aircraft identification mark N988JE. Pilot signature David Rogers with a D. David Rodgers. Aircraft category. These are like aircraft log. This has got to be Epstein's plane. Oh gosh. Clinton is in the flight logs 38 times. I wonder what's in the other half of the documents that we haven't seen yet. Lolita Express. Oh my goodness. Where are some of these? The heck is this? Like, these documents make no sense to me. There's no sense in their order. Asset account portfolio, JP Morgan Private Bank. Account number under Jeffrey Epstein. It's not that big of an account, but it's not the only account listed in here. See, I'm going to have to organize these so I can just go like click, 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 bloop, 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 bloop. But it's literally going to take me probably dozens, if not hundreds of hours to organize these into any kind of a thing that makes any kind of sense. Hold on. Let me share this. So there are documents that look like this in here. Several documents. Portfolio summary, JP Morgan Private Bank. It's not JP Morgan Chase Bank, it's JP Morgan Private Bank. I didn't know there was such a thing. Cash and short term, 6,838,000. Okay, it's bigger than I thought it was. I saw the 22,000 down in the lower right corner, and I thought that was like the account amount. No, that's the net dividends. $22,000 net dividends. So market value $6,838,687.24. Market value US dollars as of August 31st, $14,816,643.79. Tax cost $6 million. The taxes $6,838,687.24. Estimated annual income $109,000. Accrued income $11,992.75. $22,000 or 22,043.45. So I think, didn't he represent himself as like a investment guru type of person? Isn't that how he like got in with people? Like he could take your money and make money with your money. Yeah, that's 2002. This is like 23 years ago. Almost exactly 23 years ago. You're not seeing what I'm reading? Are you seeing what I'm reading now? I see it up on StreamYard. It was at 12:15. That was a minute ago. You seriously can't see what I'm sharing, Dizzy? You got to tell me. I have JP Morgan Private Bank account portfolio up. Okay. Oh, wasn't what I was reading. Yeah, I was reading these numbers right here. 6 million market value, $6,838,687.24. Market value $14,816,000. $816,643.79. That's what I was reading. I was reading those numbers right there. Like, those are big numbers. Those are pretty big numbers. Just a little bit of pocket change. All right, let's see what else interesting is in these files. Like, all right, I gotta show this. I gotta show this. Oh my gosh. No. I mean, I giggle because I'm like a 15-year-old, emotionally. I believe this may be a massage table, maybe. A foldable massage table. I mean, we can't see the hole in the right side where the head goes, but looks like a foldable massage table. And it is Government Exhibit 51A. But what is that hole right there? What is that hole right there, people? I don't want to know. Oh, I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. All right, let's find something else. Oh, they actually took a picture of it. Oh, no, that's Earthlight, Vista, California, made in the USA. What do you guys see? You can't see that, so I have to go remove that. Melmac. It is a sticker. It's not a hole. Michelle, hold on. I've got to correct that error for the record. For the record, I've got to correct the error. It's a sticker. Crash. It is a sticker. It's not a hole. And it says made in Vista, California. I lived in Vista for a minute or two, and that is a really, really nice place to live. It's like 77 degrees year round. Oh, goodness gracious. Why does the government have these as exhibits? I wonder, though. Move. Stop screen. Share screen. One more picture of the bottom of that table. As much as we don't want to see it, we have to see it. It is a massage table. It is confirmed. Earthlight, Vista, California, Executive Ridge Drive. I know where that is in Vista. It's like a commercial industrial complex. Massage table number T131634, model Spirit, color teal DS, description 32-inch RR Shiatsu, 42700, inspected by CHN. Bodywork Emporium, with locations in Santa Monica, Costa Mesa, Sherman Oaks, Leucadia, and San Diego. That's funny that is part of the government's exhibits. Oh, let's see what else we have. Okay, we already looked at the airplane logs. In 908JE, Remarks, procedures, maneuvers, endorsements. What's another picture here? Oh, goodness. Hold on. I'm going to open all these together. I hope. So I can just flip through them one at a time. Oh, my goodness. This is going to be a fun one. This is also included in the same folder as the massage table. That's interesting. Pammy. Hi, Pammy. Welcome in. So this is on Lolita Express, apparently. And I do believe that is Ms. Maxwell. And she is giving... So Jeffrey is wearing a hoodie, a zip-up hoodie, shirtless underneath, with it unzipped down below his nipples. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure these pictures have been out, but it's just interesting. Interesting to me. Let's see what else is in this folder. So he had more than just the Lolita Express. All right, let's see where we're at. I got to find my way back to StreamYard. Finding my way back to you, Ben. Where was I? All right, can we keep on going? There we go. Is that showing up on StreamYard? Yes, it is. Good deal. Yeah, the other man, Michelle. Yeah, I don't know. He was studiously avoiding the camera, but he couldn't get up and move. He's like, oh, crap. Did you take that picture? So he had his own chopper, too. There, I believe, is Epstein Island. Yeah, she was more than just an administrative assistant. Wow. That looks like a Polaroid picture from 1976. Obviously, it wasn't. Property value, title Palm Beach House Workers, authors GMAX, revision 2. Palm Beach. So this is Florida House Workers, full-time workers, John and Mary Alessi. Oh, their phone numbers. Jerome Pierre, gardener. Jerome Pierre. Jerome, will you please go plant the... All right, I'll stop right there. Works Monday to Friday, approximately 2 to 5 p.m. after working for Alan Stopek. If Mr. Epstein is in town, he comes at 6:30 a.m. to clear debris away from the pool deck and patios and leaves for the day. Part-time workers, Francis and Pastora Peden, cleaners. Emmy Taylor, Alan Stopek, landscape designer. He does not come at a regular time. He arrives, checks the garden, and leaves. Why don't you make like a tree and leaves? Palm Beach House Maintenance. Yeah, Leslie, right, Pammy? No timeouts for you, Gresha. No timeouts for you. Recycling, mail delivery, FedEx, plumbing, electricity. I mean, they've got it all organized. Palm Beach house maintenance, outdoor lighting, locksmith, alarm system, gates, garage door repairs, telephones, internal phone system, washer, dryer servicing, bottled water company, storage, car maintenance. It's all very organized. Food and general household items. Publix. No. Well, at least it's not Winn-Dixie. Publix is better than Winn-Dixie. All right, I'll give them that. There are better places than Publix to get your food and general household items, though. Just saying. Oh, gourmet food. Speak of it. C'est bon. Carmine's, Herbert's, Lafayette. Newspapers, office supplies, hardware, post office, pool maintenance, pool heating, pest control, irrigation, landscape, spraying, tree trimming. Oh, here we go. Palm Beach. We're in Palm Beach, right? Did that say Palm Beach? I got to go back and make sure. Yeah, Palm Beach. Okay, Palm Beach. PB is Palm Beach. New shampoo and massage products. Shampoo, Tresemme Hydrology, normal hair. Thermosilk, heat activated moisturizing. Clairol Daily Defense, Nexus, massage. Okay. This takes me to P. Diddy. This takes me right to P. Diddy. Except they just went straight for the baby oil there. We have some more elevated massage products involved here. Lancome Aroma Fit Massage Oil, Lancome Aroma Calm Relaxing Legs and Feet Gel, Clarins Hue Isle Relax Body Treatment Oil, Kiehl's Instant Satin Soft Body Rub, Kiehl's Aloe Massage Cream, Kiehl's Body Massage Oil, Kiehl's Satin Soft Soluble Bath Oil and Body Rub. Laura Mercier Creme Brulee Soufflé Body Cream. Oh my gosh. That makes me hungry or it makes me sick. I can't decide. I'm conflicted. Creme Brulee Soufflé Body Cream. Sisley Hydra Flash Intense Body Formula Knip Herbal Body Massage Oil. Jojoba Nut Complex. All right, I'm about done with this, but I can't help but be entertained by this list. And then I need to go look at some more of the things in these files because there's so many things to look at. Estee Lauder Private Spa Body Collection, Moisture Massage, Silky Body Lotion, Burberry Baby Touch Soothing Massage Oil. All right, I'm done with this. I'm done with this list. But I'm going to find something else in here that hopefully is a little more serious. Those are all the flight records still. I think I need to go up. Let me go up in another folder and see if we can find something. That's a little more serious. Let's see, we've got, those are the pictures I showed. I think those are the lists. There's the testimony, and those on the bottom are the flight logs. So let's find another folder. So that's images 6. Let's go to images 10. Let's just see what's in images 10. Phone log printouts, not all that revealing. For extensions 6314 and 6313. U.S. Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Prisons. August 11th. Chain of custody log, CDFRM. But doesn't reveal anything all that revealing. Oh. That's kind of interesting. Hold on, let me see if I put like 3 or 4 of those together. Nope. They don't have them in any kind of order that I can just go through them in order. They're like, you click on the next one and it's not the next one. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Let's do those. Let me close that out. All right, we'll start with this and then we'll move to the one where I went, oh, move that, share this. Window, bloop, share. All right. Zoom in a little bit. So, add to stage. Woohoo, I added the stage before I started reading. It's first time for everything. All right, this is from somebody at AOL.com. Who still uses AOL.com? Like, seriously, this is 2019 that this is from? Who still uses AOL.com at bop.gov? What is bop.gov? All right, I got to know that first before I read, or my mind is going to just get stuck there. bop.gov. The site can't be reached. What? I can't even imagine what that means. bop.gov. All right. It didn't let me. It says the site can't be reached. What if I go www.bop.gov? Federal Bureau of Prisons. Duh. Gah. I'm a genius. All right. So from somebody at AOL.com to BOP.gov, somebody at the Bureau of Prisons, I visited inmate Epstein in SHU on Thursday. He was getting ready to meet with his attorneys for the day, so I had gone to visit him right after the SHU meeting. He had a cellmate at the time with whom I saw him interact with. Don't leave the preposition on the end. Don't leave the preposition dangling. You already said with. You said with whom. He had a cellmate at the time with whom I saw him interact. Period. Don't put the extra with in there. He did not report any mental health concerns, and he denied any suicidal thoughts or intention. He was asking this writer to go to general population and was making requests for various needs he had at the time. This is a writer that's writing this, and they used an extra with. SMH. He wanted social calls without them being on speakerphone. He wanted a book he had left in the suicide watch area. His mood was not depressed or anxious. There were no signs of distress. When was he found? Is this the day he was found? August 10th, 2019? Is this later in the day? So this is somebody who's saying he was not, when I last saw him, he was not suicidal. Ooh. Somebody please confirm that for me, that was August 10th of 2019. Otherwise, when was Jeffrey Epstein found dead? Yes, August 10th, 2019. That's what I thought. This is later in the day after he was found. This is somebody saying, I just interacted with him on Thursday. He was not suicidal. He wanted a book that he had left in the suicide watch area. Whew. I'm glad I ran into this. I didn't know this was as big of a communication. His mood was not depressed or anxious. There were no signs of distress. He had planned on meeting with his attorneys to work on his legal situation. Sent from my iPhone. Okay, folks, there you have it. From somebody who just interacted with him. I hadn't seen this before. I think I had heard something about somebody saying something like this, but here is an actual email from a writer to the Bureau of Prisons that says Jeffrey Epstein did not appear to be anxious or depressed or suicidal the last time I saw him, which was what day of the week was August 10th, 2019. All right, I gotta Google that. I gotta sort these things out. August 10th, 2019. Okay, August 2019 calendar. There we go. Show me a calendar. That was on Saturday. So Saturday morning around 6 a.m. And this guy said he saw him on Thursday. And his mood was not depressed or anxious. There were no signs of distress. He had plans to meet with his attorneys. What y'all got to say about that? All right, we're going to keep going. This is 9 South SHU, 8/8/2019 evening visible search. So these are search records for his cell. Can't see anything there. Oh, here is a memorandum from the medical director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, BOP. 24-hour death report. Jeffrey Edward Epstein, register number DOD. Type of death, suicide. Autopsy ordered, yes. Please attach PP37 with the notification submitted to BOPHSD. So there is the actual 24-hour death report from the BOP. Clinical synopsis of events leading to death. Inmate Jeffrey Edward Epstein, number 73618-054, a 66-year-old male with a history of obstructive sleep apnea, on CPAP at night, a history of hypertriglyceridemia. I think I nailed that. Hypertriglyceridemia. Got it the third time around. Treated with Vascepa. No past mental health history prior to incarceration. No past mental health history prior to incarceration. And L4, L5 stenosis. On July 24th, 2019, he was taken off suicide watch and was placed on psychological observation. On July 30th, 2019, he was removed from psychological observation and was placed in the special housing unit where he was housed with a cellmate. On August 8th, 2019, he was seen by psychology services and denied suicidal ideation, intention, or plan. August 8th, 2 days before he denied he had suicidal ideation. All right. On August 10th, 2019 at 633 Special Housing Unit, staff found him unresponsive in a cell and attempted to wake him. Something was activated in SHU, I assume some type of alarm, and the control center announced a medical emergency. CPR was initiated. At 6:35, medical staff responded and continued CPR, and an AED was applied. The control center called for an ambulance. EMS arrived at 6:45. Paramedics continued CPR. Epstein remained unresponsive. He was intubated, which is protocol. ACLS, that's advanced care life support protocol, was initiated by EMS. No pulse found. No shock was advised in the inmate. If no shock was advised, that means his heart was done beating. It wasn't in fibrillation, so it didn't need to be defibrillated. He was gone. At 7:10 a.m., The EMS departed the institution en route to New York Presbyterian Lower Manhattan Hospital. At 7:36, he was pronounced dead by the ER physician. Here's the 24-hour death notification. We already saw those. Death notification. Preliminary cause of death, alleged suicide. Here we see all the history we've already read through. Just read through all that history. That's a summary of the history we just read. Oh my. All right, trigger warning. We're getting into some forensic details here. Final diagnosis, hanging, ligature furrow of neck, petechial hemorrhages of bilateral palpebral conjunctive and of oral mucosa, confluent hemorrhages of right bulbar conjuncta, plethora of face and head with petechial hemorrhages of the face, fractures of bilateral thyroid cartilage, cornea and left hyoid cornea, and accompanying soft tissue hemorrhages. See anthropology report, resuscitation attempted, abrasions of mouth, abrasions of left forearm, cutaneous contusions of wrists. Why are there bruises on his wrists? Riddle me this, Batman. Cutaneous contusions of wrists. That would seem to be marks of being held down against his will? Maybe? I mean, it might align with that. I'm not a medical expert by any stretch of the imagination, but cutaneous contusions of wrists does not make sense to me for hanging yourself. How do your wrists get contusions on them? Wrists, plural, both wrists. Subcutaneous hemorrhage of left deltoid muscle. Interesting. Hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. That's a long-term thing. That's not what happened that night or morning. Hepatic steatosis, cervical lymphadenopathy, remote fracture of right first rib. What? Remote appendectomy. Okay. Oh, remote fracture. So that means it happened a while ago and it's healed. Okay. That's not something that happened during this event. Remote means in the past. See toxicology report. See neuropathology report. Yeah, they noticed something around his neck. He hung himself. Just call Kim. Yeah. Right. I think that's ligature furrow of neck. Okay, but just call me Kim. I kind of laughed at first when you asked that question, but I'm like, didn't they notice something around his neck? So there was a ligature furrow of the neck, but where's the ligature? Where's the thing that he unalived himself with? Why isn't it still there? If he unalived himself, wouldn't it still be there? This is, wow. So many questions. Like, I think, well, that's common sense. And then you look and you're like, common sense doesn't lead us in that path. Okay. That autopsy report has me wondering a lot. Cause of death, hanging, manner of death, suicide. Report of autopsy, external examination. I'm not going to read that because I'm going to laugh at it at an appropriate time. rigor mortis, scars, therapeutic procedures, clad in a hospital gown, injuries, external and internal. So ligature furrow, again, I'll zoom in. Ligature furrow of the neck. On the right side of the neck, the furrow bifurcates anterior to the ear with one arm that peaks behind the right ear, one arm that extends to the right side of the back of the neck. V-shaped linear abrasion that ranges in width from 1/8 to 1/4. Beneath the left side of the mandible is a faint, irregular red abrasion with multiple interspersed deeper red abrasions. The face and head are plethoric above the furrow. Within the parenchyma of the tongue are multiple facial spotty purple hemorrhages, both thyroid, cartilage, cornea, other injuries. On the back of the left forearm is an oblique. On the back of the left forearm is an oblique 1-inch linear red abrasion with an adjacent 1/2 to 1 1/4 inch faint red abrasion. On the medial aspect of the back of the right wrist is a faint red contusion. On the medial aspect of the back of the left wrist is a similar 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch faint red contusion. The back of the wrists, both wrists have contusions. Internally, there's a deep muscle hemorrhage of the left deltoid muscle. I don't want to go into the internal examination. Thank you. Endocrine, heart, liver, kidneys, tongue, muscle. Left deltoid muscle, intramuscular and facial hemorrhages consisting of intact erythrocytes. That deltoid muscle with the back of the wrist contusions has me wondering a lot about this report. Okay, 2 nooses were found in his cell. Thank you, Dizzy. Why would he need 2? Why would you do 2? He used a prisoner uniform. Well, we know how David Carradine's life was ended. But I don't, just my opinion, and just throwing this out there, I don't think this was that. You never know. You never know. So his tox report, ethanol, so nothing was detected in there. Cannabinoids is pending report, but I doubt it, right? More toxicology reports. Nothing was found in his blood. Neuropathology report. We don't need to look at that. What was it that I found that I wanted? Psych observation log. Epstein, July 8th and to July 10th. Nothing in there, really. Is that what we're going to look at? Oh, yeah. So this is his. This is somebody observing him in his observation area in July. Inmate companion assumes the responsibility for psych watch. This is interesting. This is all handwritten observations while he was on watch. Epstein is sleeping. Epstein is sleeping. Epstein is using the bathroom. Epstein is laying down. He refused his dinner because it's nasty. Quote in parentheses, he is right. This guy's got a sense of humor. I like it. Inmate Epstein is laying down, is sleeping, staff rounds, waking, pacing cell, pacing using bathroom, lays down, pacing cell, laying down, pacing cell, talking to me, and I'm explaining prison life and etiquette. Still explaining. Class is over. Class is over. This guy's got a sense of humor. I like it. Inmate Epstein is sleeping, end of shift. Somebody else, different handwriting, appears to be asleep, using bathroom, laying down. Oh my gosh, a new one, new handwriting. I like that handwriting. Very neat handwriting. Is out. What does out mean? Does that mean asleep or out of the cell? What's... All right. So, assuming responsibility, he's out. Epstein has returned from his legal visits. Okay, so he was literally out of the cell, not like out asleep. Talking about the escort business. Look at that, 8 o'clock. Inmate Epstein and I are talking about the escort business. Epstein and I are continuing the discussion. Has something to brush his teeth. Inmate and I are talking about how to handle prison. Inmate Epstein and I are talking about arbitration, something. Questions about COs. They were talking about the escort business. Fancy that. Inmate Epstein is talking about celebrities he knows, asking for his meds, received his meds, asking about the kitchen food, going to sleep, sleeping soundly. He said good night. End shift. Sleeping, pacing. These are fascinating and kind of boring. Laying down, walking around, using the bathroom, pacing. That's prison life, right? Sleeping, pacing, cell number 14. Pacing, sitting on the bed, talking to the psych. All right. More of the same. It's interesting. He was talking about the escort business with his inmate monitor. There was something in here that I wanted to point out, and I don't know where it went now. Let me see if I can find it in my folders. Yeah, this is kind of a summary of the things we were just seeing. So let me see if I can pull this up and kind of bloop past some of these. All right, share screen. And which one is it? 2866, 26819. This is document 26819. Good grief, there are so many documents. All right, so I'm going to zoom in. This is kind of a summary. So it says clinical synopsis of events leading to death. Inmate Jeffrey Edward Epstein, a 66-year-old male with a history. Did I read this before? Obstructive sleep apnea on CPAP at night. A history of hyper. Yeah, I did. I read this before. Never mind. That was the one I wanted to hit, and I think I already hit it. So I think that's going to do it for today. I mean, there are literally thousands of these documents, and I need to dive into them a little more and pull out those nuggets, because there are just so many thousands of documents that are so disorganized. And I just downloaded them overnight, and I started organizing them, and I'm like, well, I could either organize and get like 10% of the way organized and not get any sleep, or I can get some sleep and only be like 1% organized. So that's where we're at for today. Thank you, everybody, for dropping in and hanging with me. Thank you, Dizzy, for all your help and all you do. Thank you, Forrest. Thank you, Detective's Daughter. Thank you, all mods, for hanging in there with me today. And there's a lot to unpack with this. Then there's a lot more to unpack, and I guarantee you there's something in there that we haven't found yet that's going to be interesting. Hopefully we looked at some interesting stuff today. But we'll find more. Don't forget, hold on. I've got to share the petition with you one more time. I've got to share London's petition with you. Stand by. What the heck? No, just go to messages. Now Facebook doesn't want to cooperate because I sent the message to myself on Facebook Messenger. What the heck? No. This is ridiculous. Facebook now is giving me a headache. Oh my. And I can't scroll up to see the petition. What is going on? Why did Facebook all of a sudden change in the middle of my stream? All right, we're going to try it this way. We're going to try the go around. There we go. I love technology, but not as much as you see. Where did my messages go? Why do I need to enter in a 4-digit code for my own messenger? Here's the petition coming right up. Okay, so as I discussed earlier, and I'll show you one more time, I'll pull it up and present it. This is a petition that London Valdez's family, particularly her mother, has put together to raise awareness of her case with the state legislature. So let's see how many signatures we're at now. We're at 952 signatures, so 48 short of the 1,000 that they need to hit a benchmark that makes their petition more relevant. So I'm going to read the summary again. Why we're speaking out. Our family is grieving the tragic death of London Valdez. Hold on, I got to share it. I know I didn't share it. There we go. Now I shared it. See, I only got 5 seconds in that time. This is the petition that her mother put together for the state legislature to review the case and take a hard look at the persons of interest in this. Our family is grieving the tragic death of London Valdez, a 16-year-old minor who died with higher than lethal levels of methamphetamine in her system and was left 3 miles outside of Forgan, Oklahoma on a dirt road on June 7th, 2025. We are calling for full accountability under Oklahoma law for any adults whose actions contributed to her death. Specifically, we call on law enforcement and the district attorneys in Texas County, Beaver County, and Woodward County to arrest and charge. And just for the record, they have not been arrested or charged as of this date. They are persons of interest who were known to be last seen with London before she disappeared and was found deceased 5 days later. These are the names they're calling out: Braden Brown and Jose Benjares, with the evidence that shows they furnished or facilitated controlled substances to London or used controlled substances with her, knowingly and willingly aided in her state as a runaway, and to pursue all applicable charges under Oklahoma law. We make this request as a grieving family seeking accountability. We understand arrest and charges must be based on evidence and probable cause, and we ask the authorities to act accordingly. So if you feel so inclined, then they would greatly appreciate your participation in that petition. We've already gone up almost 10 since I put that out at the beginning of this broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for hanging with me this morning and for looking at this crazy Epstein thing. And there's more craziness to come with it, but come back on Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, for my interview with Brittany, who is London's mom. We'll have more to talk about the case. We'll have more details to go over. We're going to be trying to be more linear in presenting how things went down when she went missing and was reported a runaway and when she was last seen. So come back and join us for that if you would. Like, share, subscribe. It helps the algorithm. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, you're going to get portaled there. So hit the like button when you get there, and then come back and visit with me and Brittany on Sunday afternoon. Thank you, everybody. We will see you on Sunday afternoon at the latest.
Good morning, good morning. Hope you got your cup of joe and filled up your morning with good things to know. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. Together we make a difference. Be sure to come back by. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. Together we make a difference. Be sure to come back by. Good morning, hope you got your cup of joe and filled up your